Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We'll call to order at 7:41. We just rise for the pledge. The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay, first order of business is approval of minutes from the March 4th meeting, which Jenny has provided. If anybody looking for a motion to approve the minutes from March 4th.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calora, seconded by Mr. Lucy. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. There's no old business. Next, bid review and bid document release authorizations. We have none. Bid review awards, we have several. First one is bid 260012. Warwick area, Career Tech Center, professional moving and storage, Mr. Bates and Mr. Oliver.
Want me to take it, Kevin?
Sure.
So this is for moving in and out of the CPC building for the summer renovation work. Garfield didn't write this RFP, but we reviewed the bids. You'll see that Midwest Moving Company was certainly the low bidder. It was kind of concerningly low, though, and we had some questions as to whether they fully understood the scope. I tried to reach out to them. I called and emailed and got no response. I had my colleague, who's a moving and logistics specialist, review the bids, and in all his years of working in the industry, he's never heard of this company, Midwest. Not to say that they're not qualified, but they also have no evidence of any locations in this area, right? No offices locally. So, given the fact that they're not responsive when we try to reach out, and the fact that they're not a known entity in this area, we're really strongly looking towards the next lowest bidder, that being Vito. They are a known entity in the region. We're working with them on another project not far from here. So given that they're the second low bidder, given their qualifications and all things considered, we're recommending Vito.
On the tabulation sheet is VIP Movers Boston. They give a price for guaranteed maximum price and then a guaranteed maximum price not to exceed. I think it's 6A, 7A. What numbers are we working on?
So it's 2 phases, right? And Kevin could probably speak to it.
So one year we're moving out the bottom floor, second year moving out the top floor. So that's why it's broken up into 2 price points.
So one, like on Vito's Express, the 111
Is for the first phase of the project, and this is for the second phase of the project.
the total would be like 241, 242, somewhere.
Correct.
Any other questions for either Mr. Oliver or Mr. Bates? All right. So hearing none, you're looking for a motion to approve the award to Vito's Express on bid 260012.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next, we got bid 260014, Lippet Project Envelope. That is Mr. Oliver and Mr. Guglielmo.
Yes, Rob, requesting your approval for E.W. Berman, who's the lowest bidder for the building envelope project. We're requesting your approval on this contract.
All right, so first thing, let me move it first, and we can ask questions. We're looking for motion to approve 260014 for the Lippet Envelope Project.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Holmes. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lucy. Okay, questions for Mr. Oliver or Mr. Guglielmo?
It's the same company we used for Wyndham.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we have to scope review these first, right? We're doing scope
All
reviews.
block was,
We have to scope them out.
we're gonna scope
No.
everybody out, right?
Yeah.
To make sure the
So if
salary-
something changes,
If anything changes, we'll be come back
Yeah.
ready for a change.
No,
No.
it's not the same.
No.
Okay.
This is who we use at Oakland Beach, right? We use
Use that for
E.W.
Oakland Beach,
Berman at
right.
Oakland Beach. So it was
Yeah.
pretty good. We had some issues, but. Okay. Excuse me, any other questions for? Okay, hearing none. I'm just gonna call a vote for bid 260014 to EW Berman for $449,000 pending a scope review. All in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, bid 260015, Welk Building Envelope. Mr. Oliver and Mr. Guglielmo.
Once again, we're, requesting your approval, for ADS to be awarded the contract. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, so should have moved it first. All right, is there any questions for Mr. Oliver on this? Okay, hearing none, looking for motion to approve bid 260015 to ADS for $239,000 pending scope review.
So
Moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by Mr. Kravitz. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, bid 260016, Vets Envelope and Electrical Project. Mr. Oliver and Mr. Guglielmo.
This is for, building envelope and electrical system upgrades at Warwick Vets. Requesting your approval for this contract.
Who are we looking to give it to? Marin?
Marin, sorry, construction.
Marin Construction. This is the old electrical boxes, right?
Yeah,
And
the
and
old
the
electrical.
window wall?
Window wall, the cafeteria, stairwell, egress doors, and,
And then electrical,
and the main distribution panel in the,
the 1950s
Yeah,
or 60s
correct.
panel. Okay. All right, so looking for a motion to approve bid 260016.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Holmes. Any questions? All right, so looking to award it to Marin Construction, $970,898 pending scope review. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, bid number 260018. Excuse me. GCD upgrades for Windman Scott, Cedar Hill, and Greenwood. Mr. Oliver again.
Did you skip 17?
Oh, I'm sorry. Bid number 26001, Hoxie Mechanical Project. Mr. Oliver and Mr. Guglielmo.
Requesting your approval to award the contract to ADS Construction, for the HVAC system at Hoxie Elementary. If you have any questions, be happy to answer.
So this is the summer project,
Correct.
this summer
This
project.
was summer, yes.
Okay, all right.
what type of system they can put in?
This is a temporary,
Temporary
right?
system, yes.
Like we did a
Same,
while.
same thing we're doing at the high school.
Because the different projects we've had in the past, we've experienced
Right.
challenges.
So basically what we're doing is the same we did at Warwick Neck, which has been Greenwood, which I've been trouble free.
It's not those cassettes, systems. That was a problem. Okay. All right. So any other questions for Mr. Oliver, Mr. Guglielmo? Okay, looking for motion to approve bid 260017. Moved by Ms. Glory, seconded by Mr. Enos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now bid 260018, GCD upgrades for Windman Scott, Cedar Hill, and Greenwood. Mr. Oliver, Mr. Guglielmo.
Yes, this is requesting your approval to grant to True North Civil LLC for ADA work, the exterior of the building at Windman Scott and Cedar Hill and
Now, this is
Greenwood.
GCD Governance
Yeah,
Commission.
Governor's Commission Disability. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, and this one, there were two disqualifications, right? From this bid?
Yes,
Okay.
Which ones were disqualified?
It was,
Antonelli and Sons and Vaughn Masonry.
What was the rationale for the disqualification?
Incompletion of the bid forms,
Okay.
they didn't complete the process. We are True North Civil.
LLC, pending a scope
LLC.
review. You worked with these before? With them?
No, I've never heard of
Was
it
this
before.
not covered? This was not covered.
civil
when we did the
engineers
rest the
never heard
work
of
at
them either.
Wyndham?
No, this is additional, this is, the Governor's Commission Disabilities came in, after we had, elections in our buildings and that we were violated in one of our
Okay.
buildings, so they did an evaluation of all our facilities,
Okay.
and this is an unfunded.
And it,
This is basically for all the voting.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
people come to vote, they checked out all the entrances and parking areas to make sure that there's adequate ADA parking for people that come to vote. At all the
I
schools.
don't miss some of that work when we did women over 2 years ago.
Oh, it's
Well, that was, I think we were looking at it because it was grandfathered in, right? Basically,
Yeah,
that's the way we were looking at it, but after the Governor's Commission Disabilities came in, they validated the fact there was some insufficient ADA accommodations that were being made, and that's why we're,
But we also had some ADA upgrades done at Windman that were approved by the Governor's Commission on Disabilities. Now they came in again and said, we don't want it here, we want it over here. So we're moving the parking spaces, so.
It just,
Yeah.
you know how it looks, that looks like.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Exactly. No, it went through all the channels, it got all the approvals, but now they came in, I guess it's a different person looking at it now and said, well, we don't want them here, they should be over here, and we have to move them.
well, maybe they should pay for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure that if there's an appeals process. I'm sure it's like
Sorry.
long drawn out process. It just kills you on the time.
You
So,
don't have
and again,
resources available to support it. It's crazy, huh?
yeah. Well, some of the buildings have, it's not the same work everywhere. It's,
No,
some of it's striping.
it varies from building to
Just
building.
imagine the districts they walk through when they don't have the resources to support the upgrades.
I would like to know how many other districts have suffered the same fate because.
David,
Yeah.
is there, different requirements because it's used as a voting place as opposed to a school?
No,
Then we should have caught it 2 years ago.
yeah. They have the authority, so they came in and requested these changes.
All right.
So how's it funded?
This is funded out of bond.
Out of
This is out of bond two.
One, two, correct.
All
Design
56
with
million.
bond one. We have failed bond one fund, so the design came out of bond one. And
Yeah.
we're utilizing bond two funds.
I should have asked, the previous items we already looked at, were they all bond related too?
Yeah, these will all be from, we had whatever we had left over from bond one, like $150,000 or something.
Less than that now.
Yeah, and then so that, and then funds from bond two. Which, you know, I look at, this is an HVAC system that we could have done or put it towards, but. All right, so we're looking to award it to True North Civil for $288,900. Our purchasing department vets the bidders, right?
Correct.
Because True North Civil is someone I don't think who's ever bid on anything for us before. So we just want to
We,
make sure
we
that,
will be going over with them to make sure they realize the scope of work and
Right.
they're capable of and fully understand what the scope of work
and
is.
Yeah,
Sakosha sits in on that. right?
We will, my civil engineer will be there. We just want to make sure that they've done work for other school districts in a time frame of the summer where we have to get these things done before the school opens. So we want to make sure, we just got to vet.
All right, so it's pending the scope review, obviously, like the other ones. Okay.
Yes.
So looking for a motion to approve bid 260018 to True North Civil for $288,900. Pending scope review. Moved by Mr. Kravitz, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next, bid number 260019. GCP upgrades for Robinson Park and Lippet. Mr. Oliver, same thing, right?
The same thing, correct, yes. We're recommending Narragansett Improvement be awarded the contract. Good answer.
Tabulations, there's Julia and Sons. That's nice.
Yes, they were incomplete bid, so they were disqualified.
So some of these bidders are companies that, I mean, in all my years here, I've never seen them bid, but is this because of the type of work that it is?
Yeah, because it's asphalt and cement work, it's all.
So in a bigger
site work.
project, it would have been subbed out.
Would have been subbed out under a
Okay, that's
GC,
why-
correct?
That's why these names
Yes.
are like, okay.
Yep.
All right, so, looking for motion to approve bid 260019 to Narragansett Improvement for $203,141.50, pending scope.
So
Moved by Ms. Glory, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any questions for Mr. Oliver? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, now we are on to recommended awards and proposals. Just wish I, oh my documents. All right, first is recommended award for, item. Are these all to ECM? Can we take these all at once? Does anyone have an objection to that? All right, so we have, 4 items for ECM totaling $8,625. These are estimates for project abatement consulting for the Hoxton Mechanical Project, Lipid Envelope Project, Vets Envelope and Electrical Project, and the Welk Envelope Project. Looking for a motion to accept items 3A through D.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Enos, second. I'll second. Any questions for Mr.
Why is it an estimate? Is the scope not clear?
Because the Rhode Island Department of Health, application fees and stuff like that, they've subject to change.
Usually it does come in lower.
Okay.
All right, so those are all been, A through D have been moved and seconded. No further questions for Mr. Oliver or Sakosha? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is item E, Hoffman Engineering. This is tabled from the last meeting, for $9,490 for a Vets oil tank. That's for the removal?
Yes,
Vets oil tank removal.
yes.
Mr. Oliver, is that an estimate? Is that also pending, health department?
No, these numbers are set in stone. We asked that question of them, were they gonna change? Because it's been quite some time, but given the estimate, and they said that they were gonna, honor their person.
We've used them before. We used them at Parliament too. We'll remove that tank there.
Correct. Parliament, Greenwood,
Yeah.
Oakland Beach, I think we used them for all those projects.
Okay. All right. So looking for motion to approve Hoffman Engineering for $9,490.
Question.
Yeah. Well, question from
Did this
Mr.
go out to bid at all between Hoffman and Washburn?
No, this was a, previous, to me taking over, Mr. Goldberg had done all this. I do not think had gone out the bid.
I mean, Hoffman, that's just engineering to move an oil tank, $10,000 seems high to me.
Yeah, where's that?
And 25 would be for the actual removal, it's a removal contract,
Yeah.
so.
I
Would we normally bid that? Wouldn't we bid that?
Over a certain dollar amount, we have to.
Okay,
I think over $10,000.
Yeah, I think it's over- I think it's over 10. Yeah, it's over 10.
Construction.
There aren't that many companies that do this. And I think I think that's about what it was for Holloman too, was 9 change, if I remember correctly. And I don't know, again, I don't know how many companies there are that do oil tank, well, we'll do this engineering. Okay, I know we've used them before, and I don't remember if we did that.
How big is the tank?
10,000 gallons.
Does it have oil in it? Do you know?
It's full of, it has oil and water.
And water. Nice. Okay. All right.
We can table this if you
We
want.
can take, we
Yeah.
can take the tables and.
Yeah. All right, so let's table this.
Yep.
We want to table Newton Washburn too?
Yes.
All right, so we'll table items E and F for the April meeting, right? April meeting.
Yeah.
No, May meeting. Sorry. All right, next, item G, Sakosha and Associates, $45,360. Scott Wastewater Treatment Design. Mr. Guglielmo, I think this is you, right?
Yeah, that one there, we had a previous proposal in, when the district was trying to connect to the neighbor's sewer system. But, the owner of the plaza, wanted them to pay $30,000 a year to connect to their system. So Steve Gottberg, went, I think it was brought to this committee and, it was decided not to do that. And now they're gonna go back to the original idea of doing a septic system on the property
So
of
that-
Scott
So
School.
that died, because we met with the owner, with the mayor's
And
office.
the owner.
And the owner.
The owner said he would get back to us, but it's several months later.
And I think Bill Facenti, chief of staff, even emailed him for a follow-up meeting and he never replied. So,
No, and it's something that looks like it would be heading towards Superior Court. And that takes years, and then you're still pumping every month, you're pumping a septic system, thousands of dollars every month, and it's, so, yeah, should we get up the design and then get it out and see what comes and then make a decision?
yeah, I mean, he's not obligated in any way to accommodate us, right? Even though we made a pretty good offer to him to help.
I think we're on good legal grounds based upon what the city solicitor, Ursullo said concerning the legality of their connection, but they're connected somehow, some way, at some
Right,
point.
and that's a 40-year-ago decision, so, and we can fight it out in court, but we still have a school that,
And in the meantime, we're gonna spend a significant amount of money fighting it out.
Yeah.
So we have to see what the cost would come in at for a septic system and then weigh what we wanna do. Know all the facts before we make a final decision.
Dave, this is just for the design?
There's backup that went with that.
Yeah, I looked at
The
it. It
backup,
seems like
it's-
twice is what it should be. How is it? I think your engineer wanted $38,000 to design a.
Well, I think that's got, I think there's 5 or 6 tasks within that, and I think 2 of the tasks, he has to hire, other, entities to do work, like do testing. I think they have to do some boring, so I'm not sure, I don't have the documents in front of me, but he's got it all broken down by task.
Can we bid this out? I mean, I think it's twice what it should be. I mean, it's a school, right? There's a couple hundred people in the school, 2,000-gallon tank. It's a repair too. It's not a new system. The
No,
repair-
it's a new system.
Yeah, but it's a repair. They have it existing. ISDS or OWTS or whatever.
Yeah,
the
I'm
letters
not
of the
sure how he
repair.
wrote it up. I'm not sure if they're looking at it as a repair.
That just seems
But,
really, I looked at it was 38,000 to D'Amico, the engineer. It just seemed, I think it's worth about half that. It's just
So is there-
speaking from my
is
experience.
is there a time constraint here? I mean, if we, to Mr. Lucy's point, if,
Table it for a month.
30 days or 60 days, that's what it is. It's
yeah, so can,
$17,000 or.
No, it's 38 for the design. That's what I read.
so is everybody comfortable if we table this and then Steve, you can get a little more detail? So,
Sure.
for Armin, for us. Okay, so we'll table this one too. Okay. All right. All
Want
right,
to
so
vote on that or?
I'm gonna vote to table it. Yeah, we'll vote to table E, F, and G. So I'm looking for motion to table items E, F, and G.
So moved.
So move by Mr. Lucy.
One more question.
Yes.
For E and F, did we give Kevin direction that he's to rebid it or talk with the?
Yes,
existing?
yeah. So E and F are going to be bid.
Okay.
And then,
Through the chair.
Yes.
So I was just telling the superintendent, so Newton Washburn is on the state master price agreement list.
okay.
If you didn't want to do
Yeah.
a bid. just
But
make-
being that it's 25 grand, it might make sense to bid it anyway. All right, just to- okay, yep. All right. All right, so we're going to table E and F pending them going out to bid. And then item G is being tabled, just pending more information to the committee. Okay, so it's been moved by it was moved by Mr. McCaffrey, seconded by Mr. Kravitz. Any questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, now we're into change order reports. This is first Dimeo change order PCO 950240, $41,513.
This is cost for added logistics because of the FAA's restriction on the crane height for the steel erection. They're limiting us to 119 feet. The job was bought last year by Simmons and Capco, assuming a more typical 180-foot crane reach. So with the limited reach, we've got now triple the number of crane relocations around the site. We've got more shipping costs because we're going to break the deliveries out in smaller sequences. So when the number came over to us from Capco, our initial reaction left field was, well, you know, this is probably means and methods, right? I mean, the contract documents don't dictate or prescribe the height of the crane. So why is this a hit to the owner's contingency? We had some lengthy discussions about it. We even asked the FAA point blank, what would be the process here in a perfect world to determine the crane height ahead of the bid? And the response from them was essentially there is none. So the way it has to play out, Mark can correct me where I'm off track here, but we need the erector under contract so that they can submit the proposed crane height in order for us to then trigger the FAA review process, which is a series of surveys and filings. So it was come to the conclusion that there's going to be a shared responsibility here. It's $170,000 hit to the project, but we're going to split the hit between the two contingencies, honor and CM. We have a little bit of good news here in that the delay in the, that's caused by the DEM issue is put the steel erection out of the winter months. So we don't have to wrap the building and pump it full of heat for several months. And we had some money in the job, in the GMP to cover that, this winter condition cost. It was $91,000. So we're going to allocate that 91.5 to help mitigate these costs, reduce these costs. So the hit to us, the owner's contingency would be 41,513. And then Dimeo would also take that certain hit on their seat contingency. That said, as part of our discussions, and when we get out of the ground here at Pilgrim, and when this building and the structure is fully erected, we are going to have discussions with Dimeo about drawing down that seat contingency and reallocating that back to us. So, but in the meantime, being early in the job, the risks still being what they are, we're amenable to splitting it.
Okay.
What did I miss?
I think you got a pretty good idea.
Questions?
Yeah, John, this is really, it's 170,000 to Sibs and then another 40 for over, so it's an over $200,000 change, essentially, right, with the overtime and the Saturday, 9:40 and.
Well, yeah, for the overtime. The overtime is what we're doing to mitigate the schedule impact. So yeah, it's significant hit.
So did you apply for a waiver from the FAA? I've done that before years ago, but I mean, it's a process. I mean.
Apply for a waiver, we didn't apply for a waiver. I mean,
You're talking another 80 feet of crane height. I mean,
if you've had success applying for a waiver, I'd be happy to talk to you. I mean, we've been talking to these folks for over a year now. And in light of the runway closure, we've been talking to Providence Airport to see if there's any, flexibility there. That doesn't seem to be possible, but if a waiver was an option, I think it would have been probably discussed between Dimeo, myself, the representative of the FAA. I mean, we're happy to push further and see if it is a possibility. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but.
Well, the other thing that was against us in this, you gotta remember back, the government had a 2-month shutdown. So there was a period of 2 months right at the critical mass moment that there was no one to speak to at the FAA. So the process literally just sat idle for 2 whole months while the government was shut down. The FAA was not even working, taking calls, processing paperwork. But we exhausted all remedies. We had the crane company exhaust all their remedies. Tremendous exhausted all their remedies. John Bates actually started this process. The first thing you had to do from the owner's side is you had to get the 4 corners of the building surveyed, Class 1A survey,
right.
before you can even talk to the FAA.
That said, I mean, in your experience, if you think that there's a possibility to get some kind of relief here, I mean, we're all.
Well, how far down the road is Dimeo with authorizing this change? I mean, you basically told them to go ahead and do it.
They're on site working. I mean, if no relief is found in the next couple of weeks, the window is more or less closed, right? I mean, we've already bought the shorter crane, so to speak, and they're out there. I mean, we've got another one coming. We have a second crane coming in a week and a half. So, I mean, we did due diligence on this for sure. But again, if you think there's any possibility that there's some relief, we're willing to entertain it and pursue it.
Well, I would also add to that, though, we, as recently as the past 2 weeks, since we read in the Warwick Beacon that the runway is shutting down for paving, we had no idea that was happening.
Right.
So that north-south runway literally shut it down. So we've asked FAA, can we get relief from your ruling? Like, there's not gonna be a plane flying overhead. Can we put up,
Right.
bigger crane?
Right.
The FAA's response, we know nothing about that. And you're welcome to start a new permit process, but it's gonna take the whole normal review of 4 to 8 weeks to get a permit and release it.
Real-time updates here I'm getting as during the meeting is Providence Airport is saying that the renovation process is going to be intermittent. So it won't be like a long extended complete shutdown. The runway will be operating intermittently. So we're finding out during the meeting that window to maybe get relief because of the renovation process is closed. Now, I guess you could think of it, the job would have been more expensive at bid time theoretically, right? Minus, of course, the nature of the overhead and profit that comes with the change order. But, you know, we bought the job in a more economical way, thinking that we could get the more traditional crane height. And so we're not going to be able to buy the job at that economical rate. We're going to have to buy it at the more expensive logistical.
What's the difference in cost? 41? For this item, for the crane?
Well, the total from the subcontractors is 107. Our portion is 40. 170 for triple the amount of crane moves, different logistical complications.
Ken, was there any language in the initial bid documents relative to the airport?
No,
I
the
know it's
GMP doesn't
discussed
speak to any
something.
protections, you know, either for us or for Demio, as it relates to the FAA risk.
We pointed it out to all the bidders in our logistics plan. We had a logistics slide that showed the proximity of Pilgrim to the runway, 1.2 miles as the crow flies. We pointed that out. We even brought in, one of the steel bidders pre-bid and talked to them about their experience bidding, working this close to the runway. And, you know, their experience was if you were under 198 feet, the FAA always grants you permission. They'll work with you. It's never been a problem. And then lo and behold, it became a problem. Yeah.
It's a big problem, I think.
I mean, the fact that they don't have guidelines, so you know, going what exactly the rules are, it's just, it's just stunning to me. But
It's a frustrating process, though.
yeah, well, because I mean, not only on the financial side, but it's just a process side. Just
Yeah.
makes no sense at all to me.
And like Mark said, just so the view and the public know, this is the culmination of like months and months of going back and forth with FAA, filing surveys, filing for aeronautical studies. So, you know, we're not just kind of passing this over and saying, okay, I mean, we've really kind of done our due diligence here. You know, if there's any experts in the room, Mr. Lucy is an example, is aware of another avenue. We're certainly willing to entertain it and do what we can for the betterment of the project. But right now, we're facing, you know, a schedule issue, and we really have to move forward with it as proposed.
I understand.
So one more question. Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the significance of the Demio construction contingency is basically splitting the barrel? What is, can't the construction contingency pay for all of it? I mean,
Well, that, like I said, that was our, you know, we talked about that. I mean, this is, falls under the means and methods, right, realm, right? But, you know, given the fact that neither Demio nor Left Field nor Capco Steel and Seves Steel could have really known the risk or had any process to understand what the restriction was going to be prior to bid, it's an agreement that rather than having it all fall under Demio and impose that risk on them early in the job, we'll share it for now.
I mean, been a true open book partnership approach to this whole thing.
right,
We honestly feel like it's not fair to be 100% on us,
right.
but we're more than willing to help be part of the solution. So that's why we thought that coming up with eating half of that cost out of the construction contingency was a fair and equitable solution to this problem. We acknowledge that, you know, we probably could have done better on this.
So, yeah,
You know, if I could be Monday morning quarterback, probably what I would have done in our GMP is I probably would have qualified and said, this bid is assuming that we can use a 198-foot crane. And anything other than that would result in a change order. We did not put any qualifying language in our bid such as that. So that's why I feel like Demio does have some egg on their face on this one. And you know, we just feel like eating.
so the 41,000, that's an increase to the GMP. That would theoretically be an increase.
Yes.
Okay.
It would come out of continue.
Well, increases the hard cost,
Right.
and then we'll draw down the EMS contingency, yeah. And then we'll take the same approach for the next change order too, where we're gonna split the cost for the overtime. Anything over that ends up being over that full amount, Demio's gonna cover it.
What's the penalty from the FAA if you use 180 for crane?
We won't even go there.
No. What if we indemnify you on the sub?
Geez, we'd have to get into our legal department
Yeah,
to,
yeah, I guess.
you know,
time.
Trying, Dave.
I know.
I don't want to end up on the part of aging, Dave.
Yeah, it's, you know, what's it?
But on to
Forgiveness?
that point, if all of a sudden the FAA has a moment of common sense and if, you know, maybe we can work with the local tower. You know, we have our biggest crane fix coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We're picking up this enormous
Well, I'll
truss
spend some
today.
time on it. I've got a lot of time on my hands, so if you need me to help you and get involved, I'm certainly willing to do that.
Yeah, we'll get a meeting
All
afterwards
right.
and, you know, get our, because the other thing the FAA asked for is because they were getting approached by Cevez Steel, Maxim Crane,
Right.
Dimeo, so
Yeah.
they were getting frustrated by the
Sure.
number of people badgering
Right.
them, so they asked that Dimeo appoint one person to be the lead on both jobs, so
Okay,
we
yeah.
appointed one person for
All right.
Tilbury and Pilgrim to kind of
Okay.
Yeah, don't call them
coordinate
direct.
this effort.
Right.
But no, we'd be glad to
Yeah.
meet with you.
All right.
Dylan Pratt was like the Dimeo person who has experience
All right.
with the FAA and see what we can do. Because it seems to me there should be a common sense approach at this point in time, given that the runway is literally going to be closed
Right.
for days at a time. If
Yeah.
we could just get some windows of days that we could take the existing crane that's on site. The existing crane on site will go to like 180 feet.
Right.
It's just restricted to 119 feet. We can
Right.
get permission just to
Right.
take that crane and
Yeah,
go
yeah.
up a bit higher. It would
Yeah.
help us tremendously.
Right, okay.
So we would still take an action on this, because what Armor's gonna do would come back later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
Right,
it would,
if-
you know, if we can do something to soften this cost, we'll 100%.
Right, so it could come back
and
to
share
us.
that.
Right.
Share that savings and then it can be procured. At this point in time, we just felt the prudent action was to not affect the schedule anymore. We've
Right.
already affected the schedule greatly through this whole DM soil. We didn't want to then all of a sudden have a whole delay due to this crane issue.
Right.
So we thought the prudent action was to move forward and work this out honestly.
Okay. Any other questions for Demio on that? All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve PCO 950240 for $41,513.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Holmes, second by Ms. Clary. All right, any further questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item B, PCO 950241 for $40,127.
Yeah.
Mr. Bates.
The overtime, that's the 16 Saturdays, 12 guys, total cost is 76,000. We're gonna agree to split it. With Demio, anything over that 76, they're gonna pay for. But like I said, it's a similar approach in terms of how we allocate cost here.
Yeah, and that could change pending.
Could change,
a
yeah.
favorable outcome for us.
So if I can add some color commentary to this one, please.
Yeah.
So when we bought the steel package, we bought a number of overtime days already in the package. So we already own 6 Saturdays with the cranes. And we own 3 Saturdays with the entire detailing crew. Right now, we only have 1 crane on site. We are not working overtime. We didn't work. The crane arrived last 3/23. First day to start the wrecking was 3/24. So we could have worked this past Saturday. We chose not to, just because the crane isn't right now on the critical path. Our foundations and finishing our site works really what's on critical path. As we get a little further down the road, the crane is working efficiently. But we have this block of overtime in the contract that we'll utilize first. And then once that's exhausted, that's when we would start to use this allowance. With the understanding that this smaller crane is costing the job 15 additional days. That's what's part of this previous change order. If we work Saturdays, we can reduce that 15 days to, 10 days, 8 days, 6 days, 5 days, whatever, but there should be some opportunity to make up some schedule. And right now, believe it or not, we're truly on a critical path to getting this building tight prior to next winter.
Right.
So we don't want to lose days erecting steel. That's only going to hurt us getting our envelope tight, and then we'll just next winter, we won't have a tight envelope. We'll be having a conversation about, putting a tent around part of the building. So it's prudent to spend money up front when you can get a bang for the buck. with this, with the steel erectors.
But again, this number could change right? And then
It's locked in from the city's perspective. You guys the city will not spend any more than this. Anything past that, Dimeo,
it's on you.
that's on us.
Questions? Anyone? All right, so looking for motions to approve PCO 950241 for $40,127. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second? Seconded by Mr. Enos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, PCO number 950060. Mr. Bates.
Yeah, this is a design related change order. This is that RFI coordination process that we talked about last month. It includes revisions to RTU spring curve details, some electrical circuit modifications, some invert changes to civil structures. So it started out, this PCO at $60,000, came down to $25,964. So I think that speaks positively to the review process that's happening behind the scenes when these PCOs come over our desk. It turned out that actually there's a large quantity of insulation at the ducts where the roof, where the ducts meet the roof, that was actually owned in the documents. The subcontractor was claiming it wasn't, but they were incorrect. So hence we have the $25,000 change order we're recommending.
Okay, any questions for Leckfield or Dimeo on that? Okay, hearing none, looking for motion to approve PCO 950060, $25,964.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Enos, second? Seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next item D, PCO 950141, a credit for $6,820.
Little good news, right? So we need less rigid insulation, the foundation than we originally thought, so it's a credit.
Okay,
Which we'll take.
questions for Dimeo at all? You sure look at there should be another number at the end, it's not $69,000? All right, so.
Dave, you know what they say, the credit book is the thinnest book in the library.
That's true. Even in my business, it's the same thing. All right, so Mr. McCaffrey moved approval. Just need a second. Second by Ms. Glory. All in favor? Aye. Anyone else? All the ayes? The ayes have it. Okay. Opposed, motion carried. Okay, next, Tollgate PCOs, first one. Give me PCO 959981 for $119,775.
I'm gonna set the table on this and then I'm gonna turn it over to James. But so that $50 million bond did not pass right in February. So we can't select the alternates in full. We don't have the funding. We don't think it's prudent, however, to assume that that window's closed entirely. So I think it would be a shame to miss the opportunity to, while we have the subcontractors mobilized on site, we're in the ground, to not do some of the below grade infrastructure in preparation for the case where maybe that funding does become available, right? So as part of this, there's actually an opportunity that we can purchase one of the alternates in full. It's the greenhouse. It's not one of the athletic fields, but it's the greenhouse that we're proposing to purchase as part of this PCO in entirety, including all the low grade utilities. So I'm not the mastermind of this. This is James. So maybe you want to talk to some of the details.
So at Tollgate, we have a handful of alternates, and the way that we bought the alternates in the early packages was they were bought as deduct alternates. The balance of the packages bought through the GMP, everything was bought as add alternates. So we have certain elements of site work scope, concrete scope, and structural steel scope in the job that wouldn't make sense to execute and continue with that work if we're not providing the balance of the scope. Use the concessions building, for example, at the softball, baseball field. We own the site prep, concrete foundations, and structural steel. We don't own anything else to do with that building at this point in time. So right now, we know we don't have the money based on the failure of the bond to go ahead and execute those alternates. So this is basically an interim reconciliation where we're pulling back some of those values that we have in the job, maintaining those values with the subcontractor. So if we do end up gaining funding, however that may be, and we can execute the work as originally scheduled, it'll go right back in the job for the same dollar value as we currently are pulling it out for. But by pulling some of those things out of the job that we currently have in the job, we can exercise at least one alternate whole and complete, which is the greenhouse. That would be the greenhouse structure, all the coordination, because we have to come out of the building to get to the greenhouse, with certain MEP trades. All of the equipment and furnishings whole and complete in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is a programmatic space for the students. It's one of the things that we really could figure out how to find the money for, right? The softball, baseball fields, those can't be built without the concessions building. By plumbing code, you have to have sanitary facilities down there. That's like a $5.5 million ad, right? We don't have the money to pull out a contingency for that sort of thing right now. But the greenhouse, less the credits that we're pulling out of the job, becomes an attainable item. And we don't want to go ahead and put the foundation in because we need the shop drawings for the greenhouse. So to make sure that those items are coordinated. So we can move forward with all of that coordination, that underground work, the foundation. And then also as part of this is all of the under drainage at the softball and baseball fields, basically all of the work that's in that parking lot south of CTC, all of the underground work, all the civil work. And that basically gives us the parking lots, it gives us the greenhouse, and it gives us all that underground infrastructure that really makes sense to dig and install while we have the site contractor on site, and to do that within the schedule that we currently own. So we're maintaining, putting that work in place. And then, anything else afterwards, if we do gain the funding, we can go back, we can add in the fences, we can add in the finishing of the fields and whatnot, but all of that underground infrastructure type work is there and complete and ready for that dressing, if you will. There's a couple other components of things that are included in here, such as at the outfield of the baseball field, we have a big block retaining wall. That's part of the job originally. One of the things that wasn't in the job was the fence along the top of that wall, which was in the alternates, but we need to exercise that because we need to install that fence for safety. Otherwise, we have a fall hazard there. Same with over at the practice field. So these are all the things that we kind of looked at. We went through all the alternates. There was about a 100-page long spreadsheet, and we broke it down into things that we can omit for the time being, things that we need to keep on the radar. So John will project against the owner's contingency, such as the moisture mitigation allowance. We don't know if we're going to need to exercise that until we test the slabs. And then there's the things that really need to happen based on the scope of work that's gone forward so far. We've blasted, we're installing that retaining wall. We need to put the fence on it so it's safe for the students. So that's kind of how we landed on this exercise. We got to a place where we could provide all of that for about $220,000. As Mark mentioned, very similarly to Pilgrim, we had a Saturday overtime allowance for the steel erection crew built into the contract. We actually did not need to tap that at all. That was worth $100,000. Typically, that would be reconciled to the CM contingency. We're going to bypass that step in the best interest of helping the city move forward with a whole and complete alternate, and we're going to apply that savings directly to this PCO, which leaves an ad inclusive of all markups to $119,000 to do all of that work underground, all that coordination work. We get the greenhouse as a programmatic space, whole and complete.
Okay,
So
questions? Ms. Ford?
comment,
Comments?
as we talk about this money, I would rather the money go towards the infrastructure in terms of the fields, rather than, we do not need the greenhouse. It was nice to have it, but program wise, we don't need it.
Okay.
So we could save that money, take that out, but still use that money towards hopefully the infrastructure for those fields, as you just talked about. So, I know we're getting down to having to make some hard decisions. So, program wise, we don't need that. It was something that we could have, down the road expanded into, but we don't need it as much as we need to have the thing set up for those fields.
Okay, so I understood it was the greenhouse was a necessary.
It was not a
programmatic
necessary.
space, so-
It was nice to have. as we expanded some programs, but we don't need it as
So we
much
could-
as we need the other.
We could retain that underground work that James was talking about to go down to the fields and make sure that we've got what we need in place.
Yes,
For down the road, but we're just,
Which is all in the job
Yeah.
right now. We're
Right,
not taking, we're
right.
not taking any of that out to fund the greenhouse.
no, I know, but I'm just trying to be pragmatic.
Can I say something? Originally, we were asked to keep the greenhouse in because it was tied to the biology classroom curriculum. So what we did was, when we heard that, we said, okay, we're gonna need this greenhouse. So what we did was we put the underground utilities and the foundation and the slab system in the base bid. So you already own all the base bid work. What you didn't own was everything from the foundation up. Because with conversations with Steve Gottberg was that, let's put the foundations in and the slab. At least we'll own that in the base bid. And then if we can't afford to put the structure on top of it, then he could talk to the trades down at the CTC to have the students maybe build something on that foundation that you already owned. So now if we're gonna eliminate that, we don't really know what that work in the base bid is actually worth to pull it back out of the contract.
foundation and all
The
that.
foundation, the slab,
Water
all the
line.
utilities that we own, that was all lumped into the GMP. It was never broken out separately.
Has the foundation been poured?
It has not. No, the foundation, none of that work's been done yet, but it's in the GMP.
What's the value of the credit for that?
We don't know. That's,
We can
Yeah.
extract that, but, we can't move forward with doing any foundations until we have the shop drawings for the greenhouse. So that's the challenge with the previous approach was, okay, pour the foundation, we'll put the greenhouse structure up later. That really doesn't work.
I think when we talked to the greenhouse company, they would come out and measure it anyway and then build it to fit, to make sure it fits. So I think there's a little leeway with that too.
Well, I think the question here, the underlying question is whether the greenhouse is needed, and that's an administration call. That's not,
We had a discussion the other day with the curriculum department. And just waiting for a final voice on that from the curriculum department.
yeah, so, and
Required.
if they feel that it's not needed, then whatever funding, right, you'd have to peel back what Steve talked about, that foundation work and everything else, put a dollar value on that, and then that dollar value gets parked to be used later, right? But all the other work, all the other non-greenhouse related work here is all athletic field
Correct.
affiliated, right? So that would still change. We would just have some more money left over at the end or towards the end of the project to figure out what do we do with this, right? Once we know what we can't get, how much money do we have and then what can that buy? Right? So if we don't take an action on this today, is there any issue for you guys until pending them hearing back from curriculum?
So I guess what would be the timeline that we would have the answer?
We should know within a week.
Okay. Because so a couple things, we are, we own certain scope that we're continuing to move forward with until the credits that are in here are accepted. And we change order our subcontractors accordingly. I don't think there's anything that's gonna happen over the next week, that would impact those credits. The greenhouse pricing itself was good for 15 days, and that was probably about 10 days ago that was received. I'm sure we can have that conversation with him, and if it goes up, I don't believe it would be anything drastic.
No, I mean,
I guess those are really the only-
They want to sell their product if they have the opportunity, so I think they maintain the price.
So if you hear back in a week, and if you guys, if time becomes an issue for the next meeting, the subcommittee we talked about can just sit and have a virtual meeting and assume and approve that change order. Right, so we don't have to worry about waiting a month until the May meeting for this to happen pending. So again, this is an administration call. I don't view this as a building committee call, whether we build a greenhouse or not. We build based on their recommendation. Yes, Mr.
Just one
Rabbit.
thing if I could add this is, anything on the city's administration side, the mayor's office, that relates to the $50 million bond that didn't pass. Are they aware of what these changes are that you might propose?
We haven't had any talks about
I mean, I
this.
think it's important to kind of keep them informed too.
Yeah, we
Right,
can,
I mean-
we can let them know. what we approved, right? A more detailed analysis of what.
I say that because there's a design that's being worked on for Mickey Stevens and.
Yeah.
So we gotta keep.
Yeah, yep, I get it. I get it. And but I still think, my personal opinion is, I still think this path is the smart path to take. Because if whatever develops for Mickey Stevens doesn't come to fruition, now you're starting, and you decide, go back to the high schools, right? Or if at the end of the day, what's needed to complete the project is not what we originally thought, it's actually less. I think it's a different conversation. And then to have all the infrastructure there just makes it a hell of a lot easier to move. Because otherwise you're gonna have new buildings constructed, and you're gonna tear it all up again. And I think, I don't know, my personal opinion is I think it's a prudent way to go about it. I do. Because I don't think.
Was the PowerPoint you just had up there in our electronic,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in a folder called OPM Replacement Projects Presentation. Oh, I'm sorry, E2 OPM New Business.
Yeah.
All right, so on this change for the 119, we're gonna table this. Okay, so just looking for a motion to table the PCO 959-981. So moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Enos. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. The next three are credits. PCO 940-550 for $21,111. PCO, you want to do one at a time, John?
It's up to you. I mean, in most cases, I think these are allowances that we didn't end up needing.
Yeah, let's take the three together for the sake of time. PCO 940-920 for $26,984 and PCO 950-070 for $7,912. Those are all credits. Mr. Bates, you just tell us what they're for. So.
Yes, so the 21,000 unused allowance for an overhead door wind load requirement, $20,000 was the allowance, unused with a 5.5% markup, it's 21,000. And, the 26,000, we carried an allowance to the GMP for 150,000. That was to cover any changes that were coming in the design bulletin number 5. This is post GMP, but we knew that we had changes coming, but the actual costs were only $124,000. So we're getting the balance back with markups. And then the credit for 950-070, that's 7912, changes from design bulletin 13, response to several RFIs, and all having to do with mechanical equipment, piping and ductwork, and in a net deduct for the project. So
those three total $56,007. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve PCOs 940-550, 940-920, and 950-007.
Oh. Sorry.
You good?
Okay, there's 26, we mentioned the $26,984 credit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so in actuality, that number, there were 3 iterations of this PCO that got sent back and forth. The one that got signed and sent over to capital projects was actually not the final one. So the amount is better. It's $28,206, slight increased deduct. So that would bring the total of these PCOs just for the minutes to $175,856.
Yeah, that's got the 119 in it. We're just looking for these three, John.
Yeah, sorry.
So these three would be, hold on, 21. $11, $28,206 and $79,12. So the total will be $57,229. Okay, so that's the actual figure. The credits are $57,229. All right, so moving for motion to approve those three PCOs. Moved by Ms. Glory. Second by Mr. Enos. Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last one, PCO 940-950, $113,310. Mr.
Okay, so did have an allowance to cover this. This is work associated with bulletin number 8. There's electrical work, interior roofing, flashing ads, ductwork, control changes, a whole list of design work as a result of that RFI coordination process. The actual cost of the work was well above the allowance. It was $169,970. And so the net change is 107 plus markups, so that's the 113.
Okay, any questions for left field on that? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve PCO 940950 for $113,310. Moved by Mr. Holmes. I'll second. Any questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're into consent payment authorizations. Items 5A through E for AAA mobile warehousing totaling $579. Looking for motion to approve. So moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Holmes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, item F, application number 5, ADS Construction, $19,759.26.
This was for a door that wasn't originally identified to be replaced at Fox School. And the cost is the change for the replacement of that door.
Yeah, we talked about this in the previous.
Yeah, it was a damaged door that was identified after the project was complete.
It was the whole thing, 'cause I think even Mr. Lucy questioned it.
Yeah.
About what it was.
Right.
Okay. All right, any questions, Mr. Oliver? Okay, hearing none, looking for, go ahead, Mr. McCaffrey.
Doors, I know we have some work coming up in the summer. I know that the Hoxie door and the Nolan door had some issues and they're relatively new. I don't know if we can put it with the spec, we did. I think we look at that and see if that's a product we want to stay away from.
Yes, we can look at the stock on.
So, as you know, you weren't
Absolutely.
Okay.
relatively new.
Any questions? Okay, looking for motion to approve item F, $19,759.26. Moved by Mr. Lord, second. I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, BR&A for totaling $8,500. Commissioning agent services for Pilgrim and Tollgate.
Monthly progress payments.
No move. Moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Mr. Lucy. Any questions?
Yeah.
Mr. McCaffrey.
Any supporting document demonstrating the work that they're actually doing?
Other than just the hours and the.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that they're engaged in submittal reviews, and they've been participating in some meetings. They have been.
I don't know if timesheets are out there or something of that nature, if there's some documentation to support it.
We can make that request.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Butterfield? Okay, hearing none. Looking for a motion to approve items G and H for $8,500.
We got it, Mr. Holmes and Mr.
So they already did? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, item, Demio Construction, item J, application 20 for Pilgrim High School, $2,245,471.22. Mr. Bates.
It's mostly concrete and steel work and site work makes up this payment. We're recommending approval.
Any questions for left field or Demio?
Sure, Jim. Where are we at with percentage of work that bring to the budget?
About 10% on Pilgrim roughly. Then Tollgate's more closer to 20%.
Okay. No further questions. Looking for motion to approve item I, application 20.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Seconded by Ms. Calori. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Demio, item J, application 20 for Tollgate, $3,803,356.
They're a little further along. They've got more trades on site, particularly the MEP trades. So since that's a heavier building, we recommend approval.
Questions for left field or Demio? Okay, hearing none. Look for motion to approve item J.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori, second. Second. Seconded by Mr. Holmes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And next, item K, FINA Inc., Construction Testing Agent, Tollgate High School, $14,105. Mr. Bates.
Progress billing for our third party, inspections agent, and they're doing field welding inspections on site, concrete deck placement. They were there for that. And then the associated project administration costs, running the reports and so forth. That's what makes up this bill.
Okay.
We recommend payment.
John, are they there every day?
Yeah, for the most part, yep.
Okay.
Have they
Both
found
sides.
anything?
What's that?
Have they determined anything?
Well, they've caught a few. I mean, we
They
had
have?
some minor issues, to do with concrete, air entrainment and, they did, but we worked through the issues, but yeah, they are finding things. It's been good having them there.
Any other questions for left field? All right, looking for a motion to approve item K for FINA Inc. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Seconded by Mr. McCaffrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, item L, GZA Geoenvironmental High School Projects.
This is geotech, not environmental, just to clarify, right? And they're on site. The most of this bill, about 95% of it is for their time on Pilgrim. They're observing the excavation process for the foundations. So it's money well spent, especially Pilgrim, with the nature of the soils, the amount of water that's out there. It's been good. So we do recommend payment.
Do their reports get sent to DEM?
No, not directly to DEM.
No.
No.
To you
Send it
guys?
To us, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
And DEM doesn't have jurisdiction over what they're doing out there. Remember, this is not environmental, this is geotech.
Oh,
It's
okay.
different.
Yeah.
And their work is restricted to the building footprint. Once we get outside of the building footprint, if we need compaction testing for parking lots and things like that, that turns to FEMA. So once we're in the ground, or out of the ground, I should say, at Pilgrim, these guys, their role reduces.
All right, and if there are no other questions, looking for motion to approve item L for GZA. So moved by Ms. Galori, second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Holmes. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item M, left field project managers, $110,000, March 2026 OPM services. Moved by Ms. Galori, seconded by Mr. Holmes. And Mr. Kravitz. Okay, any questions? Okay. Mr. Lucy, no questions for them?
No.
You sure? Okay.
Full steam ahead.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next, item N, Rhode Island Energy, Tollgate High School, 19,292 and 76, emergency approval received. Yes, this is,
So we have a utilities freeze prevention hotbox, that we have to install on site at Tollgate. It was just decided after a lot of discussion that it would be better for this box to have its own dedicated power meter as opposed to running conduit all the way across the site from the building on that kind of difficult site. So this is our share of Rhode Island's work, Rhode Island Energy's work. It entails an upgrade of a pole to a 45-footer, installing a 3-phase transformer bank and a master meter. So it was the best logistical approach to handling this hotbox power. And we're recommending.
yeah, you guys,
And in fact, this has been approved already.
yeah, that was an emergency approval that came via email. Yeah. Okay. Any questions for left field on that? Okay, hearing none, looking for motion to approve item N for 19,292 and 76 cents. Moved by Ms. Calori, seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next, item O, Som Architecture, $123,270.30 for Pilgrim February services.
Monthly progress payment, money well earned.
Any questions for left field on that?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll take them together. Feel free to question them individually. It's all Secosio. Secosio items P through T totaling $39,031.50 for the Bond 2 Summer 26 project design for Hoxie Mechanical, Governor's Commission on Disabilities upgrades, Welk Door and Hardware, Lippert Door and Hardware, and Vets Envelope and Electrical. This is Mr. Oliver or Mr. Guglielmo, either one of you guys?
Yes, this is, for construction administration for our summer 2026 projects.
Yep.
Scotia will be overseeing the projects over the course of the summer.
Yeah. And some of this is tied to the stuff we just talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
We didn't change anything on those. Okay, yep. All right, so any questions for Mr. Guglielmo or Mr. Oliver?
Just a comment, refer to the Foxy School and Norwood School, front doors that have been put in the last 2 years and just learn from those doors.
Cool. So looking for motion to approve items P through T for $39,031. Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Holmes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, item U, Secoshing and Associates, $90,081.75, Tollgate High School Design, March 2026 services. Mr. Bates, is this you? It must be.
Sorry, which one? Oh, it's Secoshing?
Yes.
Yes, similar to some, monthly progress payment. I recommend payment.
Any questions for left field or Secoshing? Okay, moved by Mr. McCaffrey, seconded by Mr. Lucy and Mr. Kravitz. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, items V through AA for Stephen Turner, ride required commissioning services totaling $10,492.75 for Windman, Sherman, Greenwood, Warwick Neck, Open Beach, and Holloman renovations. Mr. Oliver, this is you, right?
Correct. This is it's a ride requirement, for our commissioning services. We do have a meeting set up with them, April 8th, just to wrap up all the projects and close this all out.
Any questions for Mr. Oliver? Okay, hearing none, looking for motion to approve items V through AA. Moved by Mr. Kravitz, seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item BB. Tie and bond, $4,760.86 for Pilgrim High School.
This is our environmental agent. They're the ones that are reporting to DEM. This work is they're reviewing soil export packages. They're reviewing clean import submittals, making sure everything that's brought on site is meeting DEM requirements. And there's a lab invoice as part of this for some testing for the disposal facilities. So they're currently at 67% of their not to exceed fee, and hoping to keep it in that vicinity. As you recall, they had sent us a proposal for on-site monitoring full time. And we had agreed after some talks with DEM that Left Field can sort of serve as that on-site monitor full time because we have a presence there throughout the week. So again, hoping to save money there.
Okay.
And keep that at around 67 to 70%.
Does their role diminish as the project progresses? Like at what point?
Yeah, well, we're not out of the woods yet, right? Because last month we talked about phase
the other-
two.
yeah,
So we're
phase
gonna
two.
need
Yeah,
some
okay.
consultation there, but it'll start to taper off as we go forward.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Bates? Okay, hearing none, looking for motion to approve tie and bond. Moved by Mr. Kravitz, second. I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Okay, new business, discussion, capital construction project status update for Mr. Oliver.
I do not have any at this time to update you.
Okay. All right, next item, new business, discussion, presentation. Action, high school project update for Mr. Bates. I'm not sure what action we're taking, but.
Well, I'll start by saying that, as a grand total for drawdowns of the owner's contingency so far, $1,874,000. Largely that's to do in terms of category to the bid overage that we had last month for the demo and abatement for Tollgate. Some of that 5% or so is to design coordination and, let's see, alternate reconciliation of foreseen conditions is 7%, tariffs is 16%. Just so you know what the categories are broadly of what's accounting for the owner's contingency drawdowns. So what we have left as of today is 13,141,651 in owner's contingency. make folks aware of that.
So, John, that's
Yeah.
as of today, does that include the one we
Stuff that we
tabled?
just approved today.
And then the
No,
thing we
but not,
tabled,
not
right?
what we, you know, mine, yeah.
So
yeah,
you want to take that out? Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
19 would
yeah.
be, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so, I'm gonna approach this time sign topic from the context and perspective of the Pilgrim project, and just to back up a little bit. So we were given, a design bulletin that was basically meant to catch up or match the AV, the classroom AV package with the Tollgate project, which was fine. But the order of magnitude cost for that when we first got the draft was mid $400,000, right? So it prompted us to hit the pause button and say, what exactly is in this? And let's have some more discussions. So I want to say we've had close to half a dozen talks, meetings with the IT consultant and with the actual product rep, and trying to get to the bottom of what's accounting for this cost. But part of that, it's not all of it, but part of it is this time sign feature, right? We talked about the time sign last month and what it does. When it was explained to us over the series of meetings, and Mark was there too, so I'm gonna kind of be on him and his recollection to help me out here, but where the time sign originated, this is coming from the vendor, was that, you know, the district is invested in these Promethean smart cards. And as part of the AV system, they have a way to broadcast notifications, alerts, emergency notifications to the classroom AV, right? But on the Promethean boards, and this is coming from them, you would require an additional piece of hardware that would have to get integrated into the Promethean board in order to sort of override or allow that mass notification alert to come onto the board. An alternative to that was this same vendor that's providing the AV system has a variety of the Promethean board. It's called a CleverTouch, right? Boxlight's vendor. The CleverTouch board does not require that special hardware. Now, I'll back up a little bit. I think the way it was explained to us was a time sign feature, and that's this little like 20-inch roughly sized board, right? Has the ability to broadcast the notifications and a variety of other things. The time itself, hence the name time, like the time of the day, and whatever you want. It's very customizable. But that was introduced as a way to broadcast the notification because the Promethean board would have difficulty or would require extra means to be able to do it. So what we have now, and I'm just going to talk about Pilgrim, right? So in a typical Pilgrim classroom, if we were to add this change order to include the time signs in all the classrooms, the way we understand it is that you would have your large format CleverTouch board. You'd also have that time sign next to it, presumably somewhere in the vicinity. In the event of an emergency, the AV system would trigger that notification, which would then get broadcast onto the board. But as we understand it, it would be the same notification, right? And it would get, so that's where we're thinking it's redundant, and that's how it was explained to us. So one thing I wanted to clarify is that the CleverTouch board and the time sign, they would show the mass notification alert, but these don't constitute by themselves a code compliant mass notification system. We have a code required and compliant mass notification system already in the design. It's part of, it's provided by NSG. It's a strobe, a visual strobe in the ceiling, and an audio alert that gets broadcast, right? That's the code required. All right, this time sign slash, Promethean board, CleverTouch is sort of like an addition to, it's a supplemental notification in addition to the code required MNS system, the mass notification system. So this by itself does not constitute a mass notification system. However, it is a nice addition to, a nice feature to have, right? But the redundancy that we're seeing here is, you would have the same notification on two boards in a mass notification event, right? And the question is, do you need it? So this is why we're bringing it up to you guys. It's significant cost, right? So we did some math on the Pilgrim side of things. Rossi gave us a price per time sign. It's $1,760. That includes the OHP. Approximately 200 boards. That represents a $350,000 add to the project. So what we did consider as an alternative, again, as part of these discussions, is that, well, okay, so we see value in having the time sign board, particularly in rooms where you don't have one of these, right? So you get that mass notification on the small board and when you don't have that. So that's definitely a good feature to have. So if you were to do that, and this is rough numbers, we have about 50 rooms where we don't have a large format board, but we could have a time sign. If you do the math and then you add in where you need an analog clock in the classrooms, because if you don't have one of these with the time on it, you would need just your typical old school traditional clock. Long story short, you'd be saving the Pilgrim project about $230,000. That's just a suggestion, right? And you can take it, take it or leave it. Feel free to deliberate, but where we're coming from is when we were presented with this change order, we had to do our due diligence and do our part to analyze what it is and understand it and try to communicate to you so that when we came before you with a $300,000 or $400,000 change order for this, you know what it is, right? And you can make an informed decision on whether you want to do that or not. You could apply the same approach theoretically to Tollgate, where you only have the time signs in rooms where you don't have one of these large format boards. Now, it's getting a little, I don't know if I want to use the word contentious, but I think that the Satoshio team has a different perspective on it. And, I'm amenable to letting them kind of plead their case or make their case. And I don't know if Michael, you want to?
Can I just add one
Yeah,
thing? I
yeah,
think
sure.
That's critical in this whole thing. So the change from Promethean to Clever Touch is critical in this conversation. The Clever Touch board be preferred by the city of Warwick for multiple reasons, had an added benefit that we weren't even aware of, but that Clever Touch board could be off. So the teacher's not using it, it's in the off position. And all of a sudden, some sort of mass notification event arises, an intruder in the building or something like that. With the Clever Touch board, that's gonna power on and broadcast that message. Whereas the Promethean board did not have that advantage. So that's why when you had a Promethean board, it made sense to have Promethean and the time sign, because you could have been blind, you could, if you didn't have the time sign, the redundancy was needed, I guess I'm saying at that point in time. But changing to Clever Touch, we see reduces the need for redundancy, because like I said, that Clever Touch can be in the off position, completely black screen. All of a sudden, there's some sort of critical situation. Principal needs to send out a notification. They send it out. That Clever Touch board's going to power up and put that notification out there. So the time sign at that point is complete repetition, Okay. redundancy. Before you guys start, does anybody have any questions on what they said? Because I do. Mr. King, Ms. Glory.
So I know both high schools have taken an opportunity to work with Clever Touch because there was a concern that if we move away from Promethean, we get a new product that, the teachers aren't going to like the new product. Everything I've heard from Clever Touch has been overwhelmingly positive with how teachers have received it. I have thought Dan Majacco, and I know he's been working with you guys as well, and Joe Napolillo, about, once we move to Clever Touch, how does that impact the Think sign? Do we need it? And I know one of the things we wanted to determine whether that Clever Touch, let's say a teacher forgets to turn it on. Is a mass notification still going to go through that? Or could it be turned on remotely at the beginning of the day? That was, another potential option. So I know it's been bid in on the Tollgate project, but not the Pilgrim project. Right. It's going to be blowback if two schools are operating differently, in my opinion. It's going to be viewed as one is more safe than the other, which isn't necessarily the case. So if we were going with Prometheans and that was the product, I would say, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Of course we want it. But now Clever Touch has thrown, I guess, a good wrench into that, where, you're going to have two boards with the same warning coming through. The only caveat is it also tells time. on that. So I did ask Dan on his feeling about, are we diminishing safety? Because when you look at it, it doesn't seem like you're diminishing safety if you put signs in areas like teacher lounges, areas of the building where you're not gonna have a clever touch board. So, like I said, I'm not an expert on it, but I try to talk to people who have the knowledge on it. Joe's also concerned about how it impacts the budget. Over the next years, obviously, we have to swap, signs, clever touch
What's
boards.
the useful life of the equipment? Right, what's the useful life of the equipment? 3 years, 4 years, 8 years, I'm sure it has a shelf life because it's technology and everything, technology seems to time out at some point. It's a significant investment.
I think you probably have that question, whether you're Promethean or Clever Touch, I'm guessing.
Sure.
I don't know much about either one.
No,
quite honestly, but
I would probably have a traditional PA system as well, right? We would have a traditional PA system in the room as well. But technology times out, and if you ever look at our technology budget, it's significant and it doesn't go away. So just wanted to put that fact out there that there's also the cell phone app that everyone has, right? Every teacher has.
Yeah, well, the mutual link,
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure ran through the existing systems as well. It took a tremendous amount of time
Do
to
they
get
talk,
buy-in,
do
yeah.
they talk to one another? Do all these products talk to one another?
Yeah, we've had meetings talking about that. It's sort of a separate topic, right? The RAID app, which you guys, like you said, have made good use of, you're trained on now. And there is opportunity to integrate that app with the systems that we're putting into place in the building. So there's good news on that front.
I remember several months ago, we had a meeting with Joe and the security team, our security consultants, the two principals were on the line. And at that time, we talked about all of this and it was voted, both principals wanted the time sign system installed in their schools. We already had it designed into Tollgate. I don't know, I can't speak for the architect that's designing Pilgrim. I don't know why they didn't include it in their design. But now it's after the fact and you're looking at a change order that you're paying a premium for to add it. We already own it in Tollgate. So you're not gonna get, if you take it out, we think you're gonna diminish your safety system. You're gonna water it down a little bit. Plus you're not gonna get your full credit on it. But now that you're adding it to one school, you're paying a premium because it's a change order.
See, my thing is if you have two boards up, right now, if we had the
Same thing.
same display up there doing the same thing, I don't see how it diminishes
It
safety.
doesn't diminish safety.
Well,
It's doing the same
it does because it's not on all the time.
Well,
It comes on during the notification though.
yeah, well,
There's
one
an
of the-
emergency.
Yeah, that's one of the criteria is we had to have some assurance from the rep that even if the board is off, it'll override it. Meaning if the Clever Touch board is off, it happens to be off and in certain events, it will override and power down. So we were given that assurance.
And Director Napoli has asked all those questions of the vendor to make sure that he covered his bases, correct?
Yeah.
Well, that's when I first read this, okay, we've had Prometheans, right, and there was resistance to Prometheans when we first got them. So that was, when you brought up about teachers said something new, oh my God. Right, to me, that's a non-issue, right? If this is what we decide to go with, this is what we decide to go with, and everybody gets trained up. It's on the vendor and everyone else here to make sure that everyone's trained up. But the way you presented it, I don't understand, if both boards essentially do the same thing, one's a smaller version of the other, right? I don't know why we would need two in a classroom. I understand in the places that don't have the big board, I'm just gonna call them the big and the small. If a room doesn't have a big board, you gotta have the small board in there. You're just saying that's a requirement, right?
And there would be they would do the same things in certain events, right? In the emergency events,
Right.
is where the duplication is. But the time sign does have other, features that could be made use of, like the time, showing the time
That's fine.
under normal operating times, right? So it has a functionality by itself. I think if we're talking about strictly an emergency notification feature, that's what we're seeing, some redundancy.
Right, and that was last month when you guys were here, I think you said it's a safety system, so I get it. So the way I see this preserves the safety piece of it.
Yeah, and we
It
didn't
does
talk,
preserve the safety piece.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a room with just a the big board, right? Do we is there a clock in that room? Do you have to have a clock in the classroom?
You
Or
do?
you have to have a clock in the
I don't
classroom?
know if you
You
have.
should,
But-
You do for testing purposes, you do.
Okay, all right, but I mean,
And it's a clock speaker system, and if you do take it out, you're gonna have to add those clock speaker systems in every single classroom.
It's clock, it's announcements. So let's say that you're teaching one thing on whatever teaching board you're doing. Everything else has your program on it. You can do announcements and such. So there is some overlay that one has more features that are constantly only for that, for information, whether it's emergency, general information and such. That's what the time sign is. And I do agree that if the larger board can take all of that. Yes, you know, there is some redundancy there, but redundancy when it comes to life safety for the occupants of the school. I think they all treat things.
Well, I think people hop on safety too is the
Buzzword.
yeah, it's the buzzword to spend more money at times. I don't know that it's gonna be less safe based on anyone I've talked to. Maybe somebody will say something completely different.
well, the way I view it is the small board is, that's your safety thing, right? Initially, that was, there's an intruder in the building, it flashes on that, okay. Okay, so, yeah, you gotta have it at every place that there's, every room, I get it. But if the bigger board will do the same thing and flash it, okay, that's covered. That safety issue is covered, that's a very, probably the number one safety issue. If the other uses of the board that could just, you know, you can have a chyron or something showing, or just a scrolling thing of events in the school and everything else. I don't know how necessary that is to have in every single classroom. And if you don't, I still haven't compromised my safety, right? If I'm understanding it correctly.
And just to remind it, this is not the primary mass notification system, right? You have strobes in the ceilings, you've got the audible, the speakers. That's a whole different system. And that's the code required system. That's like the baseline, right?
Yeah.
This is in addition to.
So you have the code required system. That's basically a flashing light and an audible. The difference is that you have with a time sign, it can be a silent only visual alarm. Let's say you have an intruder in the building. That way the sign only goes where they want to be able to get someone in a man trap, and they're only saying, you know, take shelter in place. So the kids know where to hide where you can't see anyone. It can be, that's worst case scenario. So it's great to have the bells and the visuals of a flashing light. But when you have a fire alarm, this also comes up and says, you know, for every room that is programmed for, this is your egress point. Yes, the big sign can do that too, but most of the time, the time sign is placed where you're going toward an egress. So playing a little bit of devil's advocate both ways. I see the savings, and if the larger one can do it as well, I think that's great. I see that, but again, it's all down to safety for occupants and the different type of events that can happen in the school. How are they being portrayed and how are they being communicated to these different areas?
Yeah, okay, I understand that. I
I
think
think when it comes to
we have good
safety
systems in
and
place.
safety drills, we practice those all the time. Egress points, I mean, you drill it once a month, right?
Mhm.
So the kids know where they have to go. They're not gonna rely on anything that pops on the board. They know from their training where they have to go and how to respond.
So, John, if your slide here is correct, if we adopted what the slide says, you're essentially will end up with the same thing at both schools, and you're looking at $120,000 PCO. Because you've got 51, you just slide on the left, 31,000 analog clocks, an addition of 120, savings of 231, 240.
Yeah.
Right. And I have
Oh,
to
I
tell
see
you,
what you're saying,
yeah, I have to tell you, you know, spending nearly $400,000. You know, with all the other issues we have in terms of field and stuff like that, again, not compromising safety. But if you can kind of get the safety at the same at both schools, and as long as our technology people are on board with a Clever Touch board versus a Promethean, I mean, the life expectancy, obviously, that's their gig. And we can save $250,000. I look at that and I don't, I'm struggling not to say, why wouldn't we do that? Because the safety elements are still there. You're still gonna have exit signs over doors, right? I think that they don't replace exit signs. And so all the training that we've had with Dan Giacomo and lockdown drills and the degrees of lockdown that we have, that's kind of ingrained in the culture. And I think that's good. I'm not necessarily sure that, in having an additional, the small board in every single room is gonna make it any more effective. As long as the Rave app can work with it, because the Rave app, everyone's been trained with, right? And that's more critical than anything else, is the Rave app. So, I mean, the way I see it, I don't see a big downside here. I don't, because it makes no sense to have two different systems in two schools. That's just a terrible PR. So to Mr. Guillermo's point, why it wasn't designed in the original school, I don't know, but that's water over the dam now.
There's a timing
Okay,
aspect to that.
so that's,
As I'm told.
so do we have to approve something? Or is there any more information that we need to know?
I mean, we,
Well, you need to ask yourself another question. You need to ask yourself, has it been bid out for clever boards? Right? This is all predicated on the fact that we're using clever boards. And what does that cost? So that's another question to ask, is what I'm saying.
Because that's cheaper. I don't know what the
It
cost
is.
was, but it's cheaper by a little bit, right?
They're this much cheaper than the Promethean boards.
So it's not a cost then.
I think we need things.
No, they're very comparable products. So if you research them online, they're,
Yeah,
you know,
and
they're-
usually the
they're
price
competing
comes
products,
down
but
as a long time goes on.
So which school has it and which one doesn't?
Tollgate has
Tollgate has it.
system designed in.
So what does Pilgrim have right now?
What was the,
they've got your large format board and, they've got and no time sense right now. Large format board and a battery operated clock like that.
So does Pilgrim have currently, is that adequate regarding safety?
Yeah, I mean, the definition of adequate, we'll leave it to you folks, but, it meets code and
So Pilgrim will end up with, assuming all this gets changed, they'll end up with a Clever Touch board in the classroom.
right.
And then when there is some rooms, there's nothing right now.
Yeah.
You know, teacher's lounge
Yeah.
or something like that. We would add the time sign, approximately 51 time signs. Times $1,760 each. So about $90,000 to add the time signs, so that every room would have something. It would either have the Clever Touch board, or it would have that small.
Well, you don't need to do that at Tollgate.
Tollgate would be Tollgate, if you're gonna go to a parity route, would end up with reducing time signs out of rooms that have the Clever Touch board, so there'd be a credit.
But what's not included up there is the ad for analog clocks and speakers
35,000.
for Tollgate.
Yeah, we didn't do the math for Tollgate, we're focusing on Pilgrim right now, it's dependent on room counts, which we didn't have at the time, but it's just something to, if hypothetically we're to follow the same approach.
yeah, well, I think it's a good idea to follow the same approach
Yeah.
in both
Yeah.
schools. I do. I think not having the same system in both schools it doesn't make much sense. So, all right, we don't have to, at some point, we're gonna have to make a decision, right? I don't think we have to make that decision today. Am I correct?
It would be,
Is there any more information to Mr. Guillermo's point about,
we could do a deeper dive.
just do a little bit of a deeper dive, so
Yeah.
in the next meeting, we'll just decide what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk to Joe Napoli too. I mean, they've already talked to him and he's on board and, I trust his judgment. He's our IT director.
What would the credit be from Tollgate if we got rid of the Promethean boards and went?
So essentially what happened at Tollgate is each room would have two boards. It'll be the same thing at Pilgrim. The rooms that don't have the big board, just have a small board in there.
Right.
So you'd have a reduction, right? You have it on there. How many reduced? Right? How many?
Yeah, we have 106 Clever Touch boards or Promethean boards at Tollgate right now, so.
But you
there would be a
reduced that
credit of
number.
$1,600 a piece for 106 of the time signs.
Well, the 106 less, however many you might have to put in to the rooms
In
with
rooms that
nothing
don't
there.
have-
Right, whatever
So
else we
say
need
there's
to.
20 rooms with
That's what we
nothing
know
there, so it's
right now,
80.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, so that's the deeper dive that if you can
Yeah,
come
exactly.
to us
Yeah.
with next week.
Yeah.
Then we can just, we can cut this thing and go. So there are compromise safety, of course not, right? And I think, you know, for the antiquated buildings we have now, I think our safety protocols are pretty good. All things considered, that they weren't designed for man traps. You just walked in and said hello to everybody and walked all over the school. So, okay. Anything else you have, John?
Just to prepare you folks, so maybe next month in May, or worst case in June, we're gonna have, the sort of the full magnitude of the DEM issue in terms of cost. So it's far reaching, it impacts a lot of things, but we're working on getting that number, in totality for you. So it's gonna be a lot of pieces and components to it. It impacts subcontractors, your CM, architect, and your OP. So, just want to put that out there. But slightly positive news, if you were to drive by Pilgrim, some of you I'm sure have, to see steel going up, right? It started last week, and that's gonna start going pretty quickly. Concrete's about, I don't know, 70% done at this point, so we're almost, you know, out of the ground, so to speak. And Mark, you want to add anything on Colgate progress wise?
Yeah, absolutely. Just breaking it down by like trade category, steel erection nearly complete. They're running through their punch list currently. Concrete and masonry, jail marshal is on site working on slab on grade and slab on metal deck pours. Last week they poured up to area A slab on metal deck. They also flow filled underground conduit in area A and a lower level AD connector. Currently Marshall has completed area D, level 2 AD connector, level 2 area A. Spino Bros is currently setting staging to begin erection of elevator 2 and staircase 3 in area C. Following this, they will begin to erect staircase 4 in area D later this month. Whereas the MEP work, underground plumbing and electrical has taken the majority of MEP work being done over the past month, with plumbing, storm sewer drainage, sanitary drainage, and acid waste systems being installed in area A and D. Delta Mechanical is now beginning to install underground plumbing in area C. Rossi Electric has also been running underground conduit throughout the first level. Most major conduit runs were faced with flow fill and backfill at the end of last week. MEP work has begun on the second story, installing hangers for future plumbing, electrical, and mechanical piping conduit. Cutouts have been made through metal decks to feed future ductwork plenum. In regards to site work and any additional trade work on site, Manfor has been busy excavating and installing underground storm flow systems throughout the project. Underground storm flow systems 1 through 4 have now been installed and backfilled. Manafort has continued to crush and process rock and material from the job site's material stockpile in the northern section of the job site. Manafort has been working alongside MEP trades to excavate trench systems for underground MEP and backfilling when complete. And HCAR has been mobilized for the past couple of weeks, and they're beginning to spray fireproofing around the job site with a focus along the building footprint's perimeter beams. Does anyone have any questions?
In layman's terms, it's coming along pretty well.
Yes. Very busy on site.
Yeah, it's good. Anything else? All right, let's see, no public comments. Next meeting is Wednesday, May 6th. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Gloria,
Question.
yes.
Just for something that got brought up earlier, when you said the mayor is talking about Mickey Stevens. So am I to assume, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me, that the mayor is willing to put money into Mickey Stevens, but not into the 2 schools for athletic fields?
No, don't assume anything. Just know that the mayor is working with my staff on designs for Mickey Stevens. That's all I know.
Then that would say exactly what I'm just saying.
No, after David talks with the mayor about changes, then they'll eventually get to what you're concerned about.
We've had some conversations, myself and the chair of the school
Just keep
committee.
talking to him. I
Yeah,
don't want to approve something here if he's going in a different direction. That's all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean,
so. Okay. Mr. Holmes?
Going back to these boards.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be in this committee's best interest to see, I'm pleading ignorance here of not seeing the product. Wouldn't it be good to show the difference before we started picking prices apart. You know, see which one goes where and which one talks to which one. Is that a doable thing or is it a dumb thing to?
Has Clever Touch
suggest?
done some sort of presentation to the IT people?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that they've seen them?
Yeah, they've actually they've had ball boards at the schools,
Oh,
so
okay.
both schools can kind of demo them.
So maybe at the next meeting, we'll have Joe Napolillo, our IT guy. Come, nice guy, he can explain.
I'd be interested in it, you know.
Yeah, it's very similar to those. so
As
you
I
can
said last
touch
month,
right
things
on.
are going on and all over the place. and
I think it's
the
a good
Committee
point to
gets
do
left
that.
out.
It's a good, in this particular scope of work is hard to kind of wrap our heads around. It moves so quickly, the technology
Yeah.
keeps changing. And there's so many pieces to it. It's, we talked about, the ceiling mounted MNS versus the board, the board, it's a lot to it. So we're having a hard time admittedly understanding it all.
There's bound to be some winners and some losers. And
Yeah,
until you see the cost and the product and what the product does, you can't really evaluate it.
well, and that's why I asked if our fire IT people and staff have seen them. Because they're the ones who are gonna use them.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, when we first got the
I've seen-
meetings, there was a lot of,
Yeah, so my staff has used the Clever Board for educational purposes. We just haven't seen the other safety piece of it.
so that would be, maybe we can either set some sort of a demo up and open it up to anybody who wants the committee to go, right? Doesn't have to be at this meeting, but if we can do that.
And I have
in
a
couple of
video
minutes.
that the vendor sent me that is also helpful and I could share it. I could send it to.
Yeah, send it to Jenny. She can share it with all of us. Right, and then I'll ask, Jenny, can we ask Joe Napolillo to just come to the next meeting?
Would you like them in Jackson too?
Yeah,
Or
we
Jack?
probably should have Dan Jackson here too, yeah. So that'd be towards the end of the meeting, right? This issue would come up. So then I have to be here at 7:30. Okay, anything else? In next meeting, May 6th, 2026, looking for motion to adjourn. So moved. Seconded by Mr. Holmes, moved by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
opposed? We're adjourned at 9:28. Thank you. Stop.